there yarn lovers, it's Gary and I'm coming to you from my living room in Vancouver, Canada. So welcome. Today is Thursday, July 30th, 2020 and this is video number 66. Thought I'd just jump in here real quick to talk about some works in progress and some finished objects. It's been about 2 weeks since we caught up on those topics, so I thought it was about time for an update. And for anyone who's just joining the channel for the very first time, hi, my name is Gary, I'm the host of Urban Yarn, and I have set this channel up to talk about all of my yarn journey. So that's crochet, knit, yarn acquisition. I do a little bit of dabbling in yarn dyeing, so if that's your kind of, I guess, content that you enjoy, please think about sticking around. If you do like it and you want to show that you are enjoying it, please hit the like button, which is a little thumb symbol down below, and and think about subscribing. It'd be great to have you amongst my fiber friends. And to all the fiber friends who have returned, welcome back. I just want to say quickly what a great group of messages that were left in the last podcast that I uploaded on Sunday, featuring Crystal at Bag O' Day's Happy Mail. So if you haven't seen that, I'll link it down below so you can stop on over there and take a look. And I just loved all of the amazing comments that everyone was sharing amongst each other. We just have this brilliant community, fiber community, which shows so much appreciation and love. And I'm still in the afterglow of receiving that beautiful, spectacular gift, and I was up for many hours enjoying what I could do with it. So I was looking online at patterns, and I went on Ravelry to look at some inspiration for some knit and crochet items. And so many hours of enjoyment, and I haven't even started working with the yarn yet. So thank you so much, Crystal. I truly appreciate it. Above and beyond, completely shows the type of person that you are. Very generous, very caring, very kind. So, and amongst all of that, it was reflected with all the fiber friends out there in the yarn community as well, leaving such beautiful comments as well, appreciating Crystal's gesture too. So thank you for leaving those great comments. So let's get stuck into some of the things that I finished. Now, these things I started when hubby and I went to their cabin over on Vancouver Island. I took with me some scrap yarn to bust through. So this bag was pretty much full, and these are the remnants left of the scrap. I don't know whether you are a crafter like I am, but I kind of need to extinguish some of the leftovers. My scraps seem to be more like clutter to me. So if I have the scrap left around where I can see it, I don't feel like I can move on forward to the next project with a clean slate. So I'm kind of like that when I'm like entering like work as well. I need to have a clean desk, or I need to tidy up, whatever, to feel like I can have a fresh start. So the scraps to me present a little bit of a challenge, because I need to bust through my stash before I can feel I can move on to another project. Now that's just me. All of us crafters work differently, so our process is different, but that's what I did. I took a bag of scrap away with me, and maybe one or two, I guess, yarns that I really wanted to try out. So I began these projects. A few I finished when we were away, but most of them I finished when I got home. So let's start with this hat here. So I did this hat and completed it whilst we were on Vancouver Island, and it kind of goes with the Ross hat that I had done a few of previously, but I'd done a few hats for Christmas last year. So I believe I did like 30 hats around Christmas time last year, and I wanted to recall some of the knowledge that I had learned from the Ross hat pattern, as well as some of those new, those other techniques that I had collected along the way, I guess. So I chanced it and I braved it and did not know work to a pattern per se, but I knew what the techniques were. So I chose to go with a 96 stitch count in worsted weight. All of the hats that I'm going to show you are worsted weight, and I choose a 96 stitch count to begin the hat. 2x2 ribbing, and then I work up the body part of the hat, and when I decrease for the crown, because it was 96 stitches, my clusters of decrease were in 8-fold, so I did an 8-pointed kind of decrease per decrease round, and so it's slightly a little different, but kind of looks the same as the Ross hat. And what I noticed with the 8-point decrease was that the crown shape at the end, when I lay this flat, it's kind of like it's not severe, but it's a more sharper dome decrease, bordering on more of a flat curve than when you use fewer clusters. So if you use a 6-point cluster decrease, the cone actually is more of a arc, and if you use more clusters within the decrease, the arc is more, or the curve is more flattened. So this is how it worked up, and I'll just showcase it and put it on and talk to you about the yarn. So the yarn that I used for this hat was Spun Colors by Premier, and in the colorway Mallard. It was my leftovers from a crochet scarf that I did. It was a Chevron crocheted scarf. So I wrapped that one up and sort of used up the scraps. So really, really nice. I haven't washed it yet, so I don't know how it's gonna hold up with peeling, or if the if the shape of it will stay true to the finish make, or whether there will be any shifting or relaxing. So yeah, I'll have to get back to you on like how these wash up. The next hat I did again was the 96 stitches, and all these hats were done on a 4.5mm set of circular knitting needles, and the length of the circular knitting needle was 16 inches. And again, some more stash that I bust through. I was had a little bit of that Mallard from Colors, Spun Colors left over, so I did about 4 rows there. And then I went into some other yarn. I believe it's the Karen Kindness in the Cobblestone Varge colorway, and a Hobium yarns. I don't know whether it was called Baby Active or Baby Utopia. That's what it was called, Baby Utopia. So I got rid of my last little bit of that color that I had knitted up a cardigan in. So, and there's the 8-point star as well. So what I did with I'll flatten it down so you can see the arc. What I did with the decreasing, with many hats, they call for a decrease row and then a row of plain, decrease row of plain. So that's pretty much what I did with this one, and it sort of gave me that kind of shape arc at the top. This one I also had a little bit more of a practice in helico or halico knitting, which is when you're knitting in the round and you're changing your color, you slip the last 3 stitches before you reach the end of the row, and you begin your next color. So it's always shifting your starting point of the I guess the color round shifts, so it's not in a straight line stacking, because then you get that whole disjointed kind of noticeably disjointed break or jotting of the colors. So I think in this one the colors were very similar, so it's hard to see where it happens, but I think it happens along here. So as you're knitting, you're slipping, and as the change is of a diagonal change rather than having a very severe vertical change in the jogs. So that's really nice. I should show you with this one on too. So this one I actually knitted a little bit more because I had more of my stash to bust through. So I thought, oh, a little bit slouchy will be fine. I cut through some of the scraps that I have, and that was a really nice one. And then on this model, I am using the same technique where I'm going through my stash. There's a little bit of that cobblestone varge that was in the hat previously. 96 stitches again, starting off, and then the 8-point crown. The difference that I did with this one was, instead of doing the one row decrease and then one plain knit row, I did 2 plain knit rows in between the 2 decreases so that I could get more of a curve happening, so it wasn't such a flattened curve, that it would be more of an arc. So it actually worked out really neat with the shape of a head. So this would be more of a snug fit and not much stretching of the actual beanie itself to conform to the head. It's more already shaped that way. So yeah, again, it was the Halico knitting, and for this one in the back here, just got to see where I started. I believe it's right along here. That's it there, going up there. So that's the Halico knitting where the joins are on more of a diagonal. So you don't notice it as much. If they're stacked up, you'd notice it a lot more stacked up directly on top of each other in a vertical line. So yeah, more scraps. So I have successfully gone through most of this bag of scrap yarn, and I have a little bit left probably to make another scrap hat. So those are 3 finished objects in the knit. And in the, oh, I should mention to you as well that Ross has a pattern that's free online, and I'll link his patterns to what I was basing it on down below in the description box. So those are there as well in 4 weights of yarn, and the ones that I showcased were in the worsted weight. Now onto crochet. I have completed a little scarfkerchief, and these are all, I want to say it's all double crochet through the back loop. Yeah, double crochet through the back loop, and then this was my start here, my start corner, and I went down to the tip of the triangle there. And the pattern that I used is a free pattern called the XY Scarf by Johanna Lindahl. I'm just going to check to see that I'm pronouncing her name correctly. Yeah, Johanna Lindahl. And pretty much the pattern is calls for the rows to continue expanding until the end of the shawl or scarf, which means that the tip of the width keeps growing as you kind of crochet along with the pattern. But I wanted the tip only to be like, I would say like maybe 18 inches. I didn't want it to grow too much because I wanted to use it as a kind of a bib kind of kerchief. And so I started my decreases where the point is there, and I thought I'd throw in some loops as well, eyelets, just to create a bit of interest. So the decreasing is slightly different, like an alteration to the pattern that I made, as well as the little eyelets. So I'll just wear it for you, and I was thinking about wearing it more like a bib style. Yeah, just for a pop of color, and you can see a little bit of the eyelets coming through as an interest. So really enjoyed making that. That was great. As I mentioned, I didn't want this tip to go too long because it would be a lot of garment weight for the front, and I wanted to stop it at like 18 inches, so I just began the decreases on the other side, so that it would keep the triangle narrower, longer and narrower. So again, a free pattern from XY, the name of the pattern is called XY Scarf, and it's by Johanna Lindahl. Sit there. And the yarn that I used for that was my first go at this yarn here, which is the Cottony Silk by Loops and Thread. And this is a, what is this? This is a Michael's house yarn and Loops and Thread, and I really enjoyed it. It has, it needs to be soaked so that the yarn relaxes, not before you make it up. You can actually make it up and then soak the garment, and it does relax a lot more. If you're using it and you don't soak it and you want to wear the garment, it tends to be, the stitches tend to be very tight. So and also the feel seems to be a little more rough. So when you soak it or wash it, it says wash by hand, you get more of a relaxed garment. So it is a 3-weight yarn, and they do suggest to hand wash it. Now their suggested crochet hook size is 5.5 millimeter, but I used a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook. So yeah, I think I used a 4.5. Where is my thing? I might have to correct that. Somewhere here I have the needle. I will correct it in my show notes if it's not the right needle size that I quoted. Hang on, it's this one. What's this one? 5 millimeter. I used a 5 millimeter crochet hook. So yeah, I'll take that off because it's quite warm today here. So those are the finish of my garments that I had completed. Now I'm going to move into the works in progress. So my works in progress that I've got here, I did a mashup of two of my favorite patterns for crochet, and it was the Just Feel Festive Shawl by Celeisha Ryan, and again I'm going to mention Johanna Lindahl, but also one of my favorite patterns is from her called the Belly Shawl. So I meshed that up in a previous podcast, which I'll include down below, and my intentions were to make a chevron out of it. So chevron scarf. So I started my chevron scarf, and I'm using the same stitch kind of, I guess, cluster that I had made in that parallelogram or on the bias short scarf that I created in the episode. So this is another make in a different shape. And I was thinking, it looks almost like a top as well, because this is naturally like a neckline too. But I'm loving doing it. It's reversible, so I've got the ridges on both sides, and I really like that. So there's no right or wrong side. If it folds over or flips over like that, you're going to see both sides with the ridges. And it's really a nice fabric that it's making up using a couple of yarns that I'll showcase. But I'm going to do probably maybe around 5 to 6 feet of this. It seems to be the magic number for a scarf for me, between 5 and 6 feet. And I'm going to blend different colors in between the ridge sections, just to create a little bit of color interest. So yeah, love that. It's a really cool kind of feel in the fabric. And what I'm using is sock weight yarn, and I believe there is one DK yarn as well. So this is the sock weight yarn that I've just moved into, and it's one of my own dyed yarns using the base that I got from dye supplier. And I love the colors in this one. There's blues, there's purples, there's kind of a jeans washy dark, I'm going to say indigo color, and there's specks of magenta in there as well. So really, really like that. And I'm pairing that with this yarn here, which I got from Hobbii, Hobbii, and I'm just looking for the where is that thing? Oh, here it is. It's this one here. It's called Soft Raggy, and it's a 3-weight yarn, so it's DK. But the yarn has polyester in it, so no, sorry, it has micro fibers, acrylic bamboo, and polyester. So it does. So it's very stretchy. I like that, and it's making it's making the fabric really bouncy. So I really, really like that fabric, and I love that colorway. The jean, it's like a also denim wash or a stone wash that kind of goes through the different tones of gray. And this one is in the colorway. I looked online about a week or two ago at this collection, and there only seem to be 2 colorways, and this is the lighter colorway. Okay, I have a number here. It's 31216. But I love it. It feels cool to the touch and very, very velvety. So that's a really nice color. And then I'm using this one from Stylecraft, and it is also I believe a DK weight, weight number 3 in, yeah, Stylecraft. That's it. Batik. And it's in the colorway Graphite, or if you need the number of the shade, it's 1915. So I'll just hold those colors up together. That's going to be the scarf. Just amazing. Amazing colors. So the other thing that I want to show is progress and a little bit of a story behind this one. Go just lean over here and grab this. So I'm working on a sweater from Noro Knits, and it's from this book here, and I did look up the person's name below that features on the cover, and she's the designer. So it's Jane Ellison, and she's designed so many of wonderful patterns, and I'll link her website down below as well if you're interested. But this particular pattern that I'm making is called the Fitzgerald, and yep, just checking on the pattern name, Fitzgerald, and it looks like this. Sorry about the glare. There we go. And I'm using a different set of needles to catch gauge or get gauge. So they call for a 5.5 millimeter set of knitting needles, and I'm using a 4.5 set of knitting needles. So what happened with this one was, this is how far I've got on it, but I actually did a lot of work on this. I got to pretty much double the size of this. So this is just the ribbing, and then I did maybe 4 inches of body, and I then put it on 2 sets of circular needles to stretch out to get the true length. And I was hoping to get less positive ease than the pattern, and the pattern calls for 5 inches of positive ease all the way around. So the measurement was for a person who has, I don't know, 42-inch chest, that it would be a 50 to 52 inches of garment. So that's almost 10 inches of positive ease, but 5 inches all the way around. So yeah, and I actually got that measurement. I got 50 inches. So when I put that around and scooched into that little ring that I had knitted up, I put it way up to the top most part of my body, which is the thickest, and I held that ring about with this much space all the way around. It was like crazy huge. So I ripped it all out and I started again, and I subtracted 28 stitches to get more of a 45 inch circle or circumference for the body, because 50 to 51 that I had was I was swimming in it. So I reduced and knit it all again. So as an indication of where I was with the sweater, the parts of the skeins here that are wound around was pretty much where I was when I first started the sweater. So I'm redoing it again. Couple of nights worth of knitting that went down the drain, but it was like such an easy knit that and I'm really enjoying the way the fabric's working up. Just the colors in there, amazing. It's my little stitch marker here from, actually I have 2 stitch markers that were gifted. This one came from Kim at Affordably Crafty, as well as the pattern book, and this little stitch marker here came from Deb at the Canadian Crocheter. Love them so much, thank you guys. So the yarn that I'm using, I know that this is a bit of a repeat, but for those people who haven't watched the previous episode, I'm using the Cascade Tangier yarn, and it is in the colorway 28 and 27. So right now I'm using 28, 27, and there's a third color that I'm going to introduce into the set as well, which is color 25. So these are the 3 colors that I'm going to blend together. And a good place to find these pretty much on sale all the time, or always when I'm looking at it the last couple of months that I've checked in, is webs.com, which is, I think it's yarns.com, but it's umbrella company under Webs, so that's WEBS, and they're selling skein for $7.99 or somewhere around there, US dollars, and they classify the base value of one skein at around 15 US dollars, and they're selling it for $7.99, so that's pretty much half price. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to add, but I am absolutely loving busting through my scrap stash. If you guys have any ideas on what else I can make that's kind of like a small project, like a hat, please let me know down below, because I don't know how many more of these kind of stash busters in my scrap stash I can do in as hats before getting too bored. But yeah, if you've got any suggestions, that would be great. So I think that's it, and I'll catch you up in the next little while. Happy weekend coming up. I hope everyone has some things planned for it, and enjoy your craft, and I'll catch you up in the next episode. Bye for now.